thank you so very much for volunteering to be part of our oil change event for single moms at Trinity Church in Mesa. I'm Rick Smith, and I'm on the men's ministry team. This video is an informational video to help out the mechanics so we can be all consistent on what we do. First of all, we have to understand our mission, and that is we want these single moms to feel loved, appreciated, and know that they have value. Now, although this oil change that we're doing is very important to them and they very much appreciate it, this inspection that we do is actually going to be even more important. How we do this inspection can either give this mom a bunch of anxiety or make her at peace with her car. So that's why I'm going over this, so that we're very consistent as we work together as a team on doing this inspection. So the car's going to come in, it's going to go to the greeters, and then the car is going to be pulled up. If your bay is open, you can grab that car, bring it in, and take a look at it. There will be a place to put your name. Then the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pull the dipstick and check the oil level. Now, the reason we're checking the oil level before we do the work is we want to know, does this car burn oil? Is she monitoring her oil level, or is she getting herself in trouble? So if the oil level is good, we're going to mark it green. If the oil level is low, let's mark it yellow, because we need to have some conversation with her so that she knows that that car uses a little bit of oil and she needs to be checking it more often. Then we're going to do what's called a battery stress test. And so all I want you to do there is I want you to start and shut off the car 10 times. And as it goes farther down the time, if it starts to crank over really slow, we need to be a little concerned about that battery, and we don't want her to be stranded in a parking lot. Next, we're going to see if there's any warning lights on the dash. If the check engine light's on, we will have some scanners there, and we can take a quick peek at the code and see if it's something that we can address or something we need to refer her to a little bit later. Next, we're going to look at the battery terminals for corrosion. We're also going to grab them and twist them. If they're loose, then they need to be tightened. Now on that one, if you mark it yellow and then you fix it, there will be another place to mark it green later. Just check to see if the air conditioning feels like it's blowing the appropriate temperature. Then we're going to take a look at the belts and hoses. On the belts, the standard is if there's more than 4 cracks per inch, the belt is worn. We're also going to be looking for anything that's fraying or any pulleys that are out of alignment. And on the hoses, you can't really see too good, but this is not a radiator hose, but about 2 inches from the connector, we would squeeze the heater hoses and the radiator hoses. And we're basically feeling for any crackling, which is internal deterioration, or any splits that are inside of it, because then that can blow pretty quickly. We also want to gently tug on all the heater hoses and everything. I would much rather have something break while we're looking at it than later on when she's driving down the road. We're going to check the transmission fluid level. If there is no, like on this car here, there is no dipstick or anything, don't mark it if you didn't check it. And then the next is called radiator fluid. I know it's actually engine coolant, but that's the common term, is radiator fluid. We're going to try to check it in the radiator, but be very careful on this one, because if it's hot and it's under pressure, I don't want anybody to get injured. Then we're going to pull the lid off, take a look at the air filter. We're also going to check all the exterior lights, the headlights, tail lights, brake lights, turn signals, all that stuff. We're going to look at the front brake pads. You got 2 choices on those. You can either jack it up, take the wheels off, or if you can get a look through there with a flashlight real good or an inspection mirror. And basically, we're looking at 2 millimeters. They're going to be red. They need to be replaced. 4 millimeters, they're kind of yellow, so we need to keep an eye on them. She may be needing them fairly soon. And anything above that's green. Now, to help you out, if you're peeking through the wheel, in your mind, stack nickels together. Every nickel is 2 millimeters. We're going to take a look at the wiper blades. And basically, all you got to do is take those and just gently tug on the end of them. And if they tear, then we need to put some wiper blades on it. You can't always tell if a wiper blade's not cleaning the windshield good, whether it's actually contamination on the glass or it's a wiper blade. And then we're going to look at the tire condition. There should be wear bars inside the tread on the tire to tell you how close it's getting. And if we have any tire conditions at all, please have either myself or one of the other professionals look at it. We do have some money in the budget, guys, to do some repairs later. We're not going to do a lot of repairs during the event, but later we're going to do our best to try to help these moms get their cars up to speed. Then when you look at your sheet, you're going to have a little dividing spot here, and this is really kind of where you're going to quality control check it. It's going to say what's the final oil level. You're going to double check that. You're going to make sure that the drain plug, the filter, the oil cap, and the radiator cap are all tight. If you took any wheels off, you're going to make sure they're torqued, and here's what I'm going to advise you to do. If you take a wheel off, use a crayon and mark 1 slash on the tire. After you've torqued it, put a 2nd slash. So that way any tires that have come off, we know, and we know they got tightened. And then we're going to reset the maintenance reminder if the car has it. Your best source for that, folks, is Google. Just try to figure out how to reset it. Brief little note on oils. And you're going to find some people are going to argue with me about this, but I'll just tell you what I believe and what I know. The number on the oil that's the last number is its actual viscosity or thickness, if you will, how well it flows. So for example, if we have a 5W30 or a 0W20, that last number is what the oil acts like with a warm engine. The W means winter, and so the first number means very cold temperatures, which we don't have much of a deal with here in Arizona. We're going to have 2 bulk oils available. One is going to be the 5W30, and they're both going to be synthetic, full synthetic, and that's going to go in most of the cars. If the car has less than 50,000 miles on it, we're probably going to really pay attention. So like this car right here, it is a fairly new car and it does say 0W20. We're not going to have as much 0W20 on the shelf, so let's not try to use as much of it up, but in this case, that's what we would do. European cars and diesels, please consult with either myself or one of the professionals, and let's make sure we get the right oil in those. Okay, after you're done, now you got 2 choices. If you found any issues with light bulbs or wiper blades or an air filter, we're going to have a bay to move it over to that. And the reason I'm not having you do it is because I don't want the bay tied up waiting for the parts. We will have parts runners to help you guys to go get stuff. If you tightened up a battery cable or you cleaned off some corrosion or something like that, in this section where it says on-site repairs is where you're going to mark the battery terminals green, because it was yellow when you started and now it's green when you finished. From there, they're going to run it to the tire check station where they're going to air up the tires and double check to make sure that all the stuff went good for you guys. Then the car is going to get washed, and then it's going to go over back to the greeters. And if the greeters have any questions, they're going to come and talk to you. That's why it's important to put your first name on there so they can find you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I know it can seem a little silly to do red, yellow, green on this, but I'm telling you, it's very important to the ladies. So let's make sure we communicate real well. Let's make sure we have a blast, and let's make sure that we all build our fellowship together. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, and I look forward to seeing you there.